leading provider of essential services for facilities and infrastructure. ARA. Here for you, here for good.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Barnaby Howarth. I'm the usual host of Everyday Greatness, but I've decided to step aside today and let one of the greatest hosts in world history, Georgia Lea, take over. Georgia served as a Managing Director, General Manager and Sales Director of some of Australia's biggest companies like Telstra and Australia Post. But today, Georgia's stepping into her most prestigious role as host of Everyday Greatness. So before I hand over to Georgia, I want to thank our major sponsor, the ARA Group, one of Australia's most philanthropically generous companies, but also one of the most bottom line profitable companies. So join the dots on that. Be a good person, things work out. I also want to thank Rugby Australia, Richard Toms and Susie and Mary for having us at the clubhouse at Rugby Australia today. It's a cracking venue and we can't thank you enough. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today to film these episodes. The Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I love being Australian, so I want to thank our Indigenous brothers and sisters for walking hand in hand to make Australia a better country. And without further ado, I want to pass you over to Georgia Lea.
Thanks, Barnaby, and it's great to be here for Everyday Greatness, and you do a great job hosting, so I'm going to try to emulate you today. So welcome everybody to Everyday Greatness, and the discussion today about powering performance and finding strength in solo sports, which is going to be fascinating to talk about. So just by way of introduction, look, the sporting arena is one of the last places in society today where you're going to find people pretending. There's no fake avatars, social media profiles, communications and marketing strategies to hide behind. Whether you win, lose or draw comes down to the actions that you take. The intensity is no greater than in solo sports, where it's you against another opponent or the clock. There is nowhere to hide, and if things aren't going well, you have to work out a strategy really quickly to get back in the game and roll your sleeves up and take actions that you need to do. While it's a lot of pressure to deal with, it's also a great reward when things go well and they go your way. And knowing that you've just backed yourself, had the strength inside you to get the result you want and make you feel like a champion, whatever the result is. So to talk us through why having a sporting mentality is so important, not just in any sport, but in every aspect of life. That's business, family, friends, and being a parent. It's my real pleasure to welcome our wonderful panel today. Right beside me, and I'm feeling very safe being sitting right beside.
That's good.
Ted Cofie, who is a former Cruiserweight world champion.
Thank you.
And founder and CEO of NAYCO Management.
NAYCO.
Thank you. He's no stranger to a fight, both in and out of the ring, and a mentor and a leader who's dedicated his life to developing not just champions, but better people. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have David Wolverton at our end of the panel here. He's founder of the Wolverton Group and 38 years of experience in leadership, bringing deep insights into how personal accountability, which is really important, mental resilience and strategic coaching can unlock elite performance, and not just in sport, but in life. And we have Penioni, Thoi. I did practice it when I've done it again. Founder and director of Able Minds, former rugby league player and He really built Able Minds around a group offering and life mentoring for the elderly and those with disabilities in our community. Building a bridge for people with functionality challenges through two key pillars of life, employment and health. Thank you for joining. And Joshua Chant, author of a great book, For the Love of Sport, which came out last year. So Joshua is built on decades of working in sport, clubs and associations in Australia, a former competitive sailor and a crewmate of Tom Slingsby. Josh is sharing best practice knowledge and practical advice for parents and clubs to deliver a player-first sporting environment. Really fabulous. Okay, so let's get into the questions. And our panel will take turns as I lead them through these questions. We're really talking about finding strength in solo sports. And first question really is all about the why, which we all always want to start with the why. So why do you think it's so important to go beyond physical performance and focus on the emotional and mental development of athletes, especially in solo sports? Let's start with you.
Well, it's all about emotional intelligence now. You know, what seemingly used to make us weak now makes us strong. I think people look, especially as male athletes, people look for that, you know, testosterone boost, the stoic approach. But, you know, like people embrace athletes that cry and that understand their emotional side. And, you know, in solo sports, even though you're by yourself in the ring or on the track or wherever you may be, you know, it takes a village. And so I think that, you know, looking at sports predominantly as a physical is completely antiquated. You know, I think that now, when I was a professional boxer, traveling the world, training like a crazy person, I thought it was all about 90% physical. But now I realize it's 90% mental. You know, the 5% can go physical, 5% can go diet. It's 90% mental.
Fabulous.
My view.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in addition to what Ted said, it's about, I think the performance of an athlete really comes from nurturing the person. The athlete's just a part of who they are. It's not all of who they are. And to get the most out of any one area, you need to grow the person. So it's that, holistic support.
I think Ted and Joshua hit the nail on the head there. Essentially with solo and team sports, it's a really lonely journey. And people always just see the highs, but the lows are really low as well. And essentially you could keep, suppressing that or keeping that down. It's going to come out somewhere, somehow. And all these, news articles of, NRL players or sporting athletes doing something wrong, it's actually a sign that they're hurting somewhere and no one's there to help or support that. So, yeah.
Thank you. As a mindset mastery coach, whoa, okay, that's some feedback. That's good. Not the kind I was looking for, but okay. As a mindset mastery coach, my expertise lies in this. And I have to agree 100% with everything that the panel has said. And in honor of Tom, I'd like to use a sporting analogy to prove it. On paper, Sonny Liston was a much inferior, this just isn't working, a much inferior boxer than what Muhammad Ali was. However, what Muhammad had mastered was here. And he got inside Liston's head by studying everything about him. He studied the way he boxed, he studied the way that he lived his life, and he was able, through that study, to get in Liston's head so deeply that even though he was a superior boxer on paper, and everybody backed him to win the fight against Ali, Ali kicked his butt. So it just proves to me, through all of the expertise on this panel, as well as my own experience, that if you win the fight here, whether it's in your house, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your business, or whether it's in elite sport, you win the fight out here.
Very well said. and it actually answers the next question as well.
Oh,
So,
excellent. My work is done.
I wanted to ask you all what specific outcomes, and you just gave us a great example, have you seen when athletes are supported holistically, and not just as competitors but as people, and how does that impact their long-term performance and their personal life and growth? So, might just start.
Yeah, sure. I think it's, really seen that a lot through some of the athletes I've had the pleasure of working with, that when they have that support and that environment of well-being, that they know that I can devote myself to this over a long term. I know that my family's going to be okay, or myself, I'm going to be okay as I devote myself to this endeavour. Being able to provide a place of wellness, they can remove that worry or that doubt or that fear and let themselves be their true, authentic self, and it enables them to commit themselves further and deeper and ultimately travel on that journey for a longer period of time. So you tap into that emotion as well, and that motivation, I should say, as well, that allows them to keep travelling along. Yeah.
So true. I'll come back to you.
No, I can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking about Muhammad Ali, the psychological victory, this is what life is all about, and overcoming adversity with micro victories. This is the key. You know, I'm a girl dad, 3 daughters, you know, and I'm always explaining to them that if you lose something, it doesn't matter, because when you overcome that adversity and win something small again, you're creating psychological victories all the time. And these small psychological victories create massive success in the future. And so this is the key. It's all about the psychology for me.
And you're training your brain to like
exactly.
to like
Training
those
your brain to
times.
overcome the little bad things to go forward and get something else that's good.
Exactly. And to you?
So people from I guess the outside of the sporting world look in and tend to see the athlete before the person. And when we have that kind of mindset around athletes, we kind of isolate them, which brings up, mental health issues, potentially burnout, identity issues as well. Like, speaking on experience, I struggled to leave rugby league, and I guess what helped me is serving other people. I'm like, okay, I've got this next purpose to jump into something. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. So it's very important to have that holistic approach of figuring out who you are, what your purpose is, and how you can serve the world, really.
Beautiful. That's beautifully said.
I said so much in the last part. I'll just finish up by saying a quote that I love with all of my fiber of my being, and that is, whether you believe that you can or whether you believe that you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, that's not mine. That's Henry Ford.
But very true.
So next question is about the people around the athletes or the sporting people and the solo sports person. As you said, it takes a village. What practical actions can coaches, leaders, and the athletes themselves take to build resilience, purpose, and community, particularly when you're navigating a solo career and solo athletic pursuit? Start back with you.
I think reframing is really at the heart of all of what I understood you to say. And reframing is simply when you come across something and it doesn't seem appealing, it's the ability to say, all right, I'll give you an example. I can't do a banana kick, okay? I've tried so hard. I used to work for Vodafone as their state ICT, Information Communications Technologies Manager, which meant that at the time they were the major sponsor of the Port Power. And I know that's a horrible thing to say in New South Wales. I apologize to everybody. But part of that was team building all the time. And we would go onto their oval at Alberton, and we would practice drills with the boys to form that deeper connection that helped us Vodafone to work closer with them. Worked very extensively with Dominic Cassisi, absolute legend. You have to meet him one day. And I think at the end of the day, without rambling too much, reframing. I can't do a banana kick yet. And so you keep training, you keep working, you keep putting in the effort. And by the time that I had left Vodafone, I could do a banana kick. Not very well, but I could do it.
Yeah. And I think in the guise of solo sports too, exactly what Ted said, it takes that village. I think the first thing you do if you're a coach or you're an athlete yourself is you got to adapt that mindset that I'm not riding this journey by myself. You got supporters all around you. You got enablers like family who create time for you to train or whatever. Or you got maybe it's your parents if you're still young, but there's always so many people around you. Then you got the more coaches and all those other people that are there to help you on the day or in the event itself. And then you got training, but like there's a huge village of people that stand to benefit as you go along your journey, as you improve and develop and grow. And then they're there riding every emotional up and down with you. And I think you've got to really appreciate that, tap into that, because it's such a resource if you lean into that as well. So I think it's that mindset shift for sure. That's going to be really good. And then I think, if I can keep rambling, your purpose. You've got to have a purpose. And I think a purpose beyond just yourself. So who am I doing this for? How am I serving a greater good by undertaking this endeavour? Whether it be sporting or business or anything. But in the guise of sport, it's like, okay, how am I improving my family's life by taking this on? What's going to be the benefit to them? Because they're making sacrifices as well, whether you're not there, and the financial or just time cost. Yeah, whatever it might be, exactly. So how are they going to benefit? And that then bolsters not your community, but that's your resilience as well, because that's what's getting you up out of bed every day as well. Yeah. That's what I found. Yeah.
And two key words from me on that subject is positive affirmations. Because, back in the day, I'll revert to boxing, my sport, you would call the boxing gyms the dungeons. And you'd go from, fighting at Caesars or fighting somewhere overseas, and you'd go for the bright lights back to the dungeon. And you kind of get told by your trainer, oh, you can do more than that. That was only 50 push-ups. That was shit. Don't do this. And it's all negative. And I never liked it. I loved it when I, did a 400-meter sprint, and I was doing 10 of them at 50 seconds, and it was like, well done, you can do it, have another go. And that positive affirmation is so different to that dungeon negative mentality. And I think that's key.
And do they still have the dungeon?
They still love the dungeons. Yeah. Some people love,
pain. Love pain.
Let me use the old school methodology, you just can't change some people, no comment. But I love the new school approach, I love the softness is your strength.
Yes.
And it works.
Totally.
Yeah. So what do you do as an athlete when you're in that situation, you're getting that negative affirmation? How do you turn it around? Or how do you find that positive one to keep bolstering yourself?
I've got some actual stories, but I guess that's another panel story. But look, you work through it, right? Because as a guy, as a strong athletic type person, you're expected to have the same mental attitude as your physical appearance. So you just be like, you get through it. Okay, coach, I'll do it. Like you were talking about, the way people exert their extracurricular activities can sometimes show the pain in their body. So you go to the gym and you're like, okay, coach, no problem, coach, I'll do it. Yeah, I'm okay. And then you go home and you melt on the bed, or you cry, or you think, do I really want to do this sport? And all these private moments are now becoming public because we've got social media. When I was boxing, there was no social media, thank God. But like now, if somebody makes a little error and slips up, it's plastered all over the planet in seconds. Exactly. So, even my favorite car, Bentley Continental, there's an exhaust, right? You can make a beautiful car. If it's got a combustion engine, you've got to put the exhaust somewhere. And this is what you said. Like, these guys, they train, they work, they look so great, but there's got to be an outlet.
Yep. Very well said.
Would you agree? Sorry for interrupting, Ted. Would you agree that a large part of that is that you need to have goals? You need to have short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, because reminding yourself, this is why I'm in the dungeon. This is why I'm grinding.
100%. I think we spoke about it before. The small wins are the key, right? Exactly, because even if it is to go from, because we would do like lots of sit-up sets in a day, 50, 40, 30, 50, 40, 30. At the end of the session, you want to get to 500 sit-ups, for example. So maybe you want to do 510, 511, or
sit-ups. 500?
100. Let's say 100. Let's set a goal. Let's set a goal for a 2-hour session. You can do 10 at a time. 100 sit-ups. But if you achieve that small goal, it's a win. Yes. Never mind how minor the goal. If you achieve it, it's a win. And I think that makes a big difference.
Fabulous. Yeah. So true. I'll try that on the weekend.
10.
So, last question. We could talk for the whole day. This has been fabulous. What's one piece of advice that each of you would give to someone embarking on or currently immersed in a solo sporting pursuit? What should they say to themselves, which we've just been talking about, if they're looking in the mirror and considering quitting? What's one piece of advice that you would give to that person embarking? Go back to you, Josh.
Sure. So I think we kind of touched on a little bit already, but it's that purpose. Especially take a minute to document it as well. Like, why am I doing this? Yeah, maybe I have a goal, short, medium, long, but why am I getting out of bed to undertake this particular challenge? Write it down. How's it improving my life? How's it improving my kids' lives or your people around me's lives? And then you come back to that. I'm having a low moment, you pull it out of the drawer, have a read. Okay, that's why. Because I'm making their life better. Or I'm raising some money for some people who need it, or whatever it might be. And great, now my cup's filled, my motivation's filled. I'm ready to go again. Yeah.
I'd say that you're not alone. Reach out to whoever you need to reach out, build that support network, that team, and I guess sounds a bit weird, but run your life as a business. Put systems and processes in place so you're not chasing goals, you're living to standards, if that makes sense.
Great perspective.
But yeah, that's me.
Good man.
Get a coach. Seriously, all jokes aside, doesn't have to be me. There are lots of really good quality coaches. There's nutrition coaches, there's life coaches, there's business coaching. Get somebody who's an expert in here, because the battle is here. That's the best advice I can give.
Over to you for last.
Okay.
Fabulous piece of advice.
For me,
when I'm giving up on my sit-ups on the weekend.
10 sit-ups. 10. This is competitive. When you're a competitive race.
I know.
There's only one guarantee of failure, and that's if you quit. So this one makes me emotional, because I've had so many times in my life where personally I could have quit, or where I've assisted people where they wanted to quit, and you go through it. And this comes back to the small goals, the coaches, the team, the family, whatever it may be, But after I came out of boxing, I did an MBA, and I studied for my leadership exam, which I got a distinction on that particular subject. I was a C average, but I got a distinction on that particular because I was working and training and trying to be smart. It didn't work. But what happened on this particular day it was June 27th, 2013. And I know that because it was my wife's birthday. Okay. So I'm at work. A friend of mine's like, come on, we've got to play like soccer. We've got to play soccer in AstroTurf soccer. I said, look, I can't. I got a meeting at like 2 o'clock. This was a 12 o'clock game. He said, come on the pitch. So I went on the pitch, tore my Achilles tendon, snapped. I'm like, so my wife's a nurse. I said, I don't know what, I was an athlete, professional athlete for 12 years, but I never knew what an Achilles tendon tear was. So very long story short, I managed to drive my car home, automatic, luckily enough, left-footed. I had a shower, got a cab, went to the hospital. My wife got me in with the surgeon straight away, and he's like, look, yeah, you've torn your Achilles tendon. I was like, but I've got an exam in three hours. I've been studying for like 2 months. My brain's full. He said, okay, I'm gonna give you some strong stuff, Penioni 4 and something. Take the exam, come back for the operation. So 4 o'clock, I took the painkillers. I rang my university and said, I'll be at the adjudication center at 5. Can you put a chair for me so I can put my foot on there? I took the exam and I went back and had the operation after.
Oh my goodness.
So
No quitting.
never mind how small the failure is or how small the success is, go through that. Whether it's an administrative task, whether it's a meeting with your manager, it doesn't matter what it is. Complete that small task and sign it off negatively or not.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. So, again, we could talk on this forever, and I want to thank the panel. That was absolutely wonderful. Thanks for sharing all your insights and your wisdom, and also talking to each other and learning from each other as well. Please thank our panel, David, Penioni, Joshua, and Ted. And thank you to our live audience for staying with us for this wonderful panel. And thank you all for watching. Over to you, Barnaby.
Thank you. That brings season 11 of Everyday Greatness to a close. We want to thank our incredible MC, our incredible guest host, Georgia Lea, for doing such a stellar job. I was working out all my lines in my head to say this after you turn the cameras off, but I'm going to say it right now. I think every discussion we've had today has been so powerfully inspiring because it's come from real human beings. I haven't got the sense in one of our discussions on all 3 panels today that people are just crapping on and talking the corporate line. These guys sound like they genuinely believe in what they said, and I really appreciate it. And I think this entire series has been the same. The panel on women's sport, panel on supporting communities through rugby. It's just been incredible. So thank you guys, and thank you, Georgia, for guiding us through it all.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting together